Welcome, dogs. Get your goggles, get your tightest like a tri-suit, put on those compression socks. Why be good at one sport if you can be shit at three? This is the Triathlon Mockery Podcast. Yes, my dogs. Guess what? Surprise, surprise. It's your toxic triathlon brothers. They're back in the game, baby, with a new podcast. And we're on a rhythm once every 3 weeks. At first, I thought my former co-host was hard to get hold of. But this one, first he's in flippin' Poland, then he's in Czech, then he's there in Croatia, now he's in China. And I don't know, it's just the time zones and everything. It's just so hard. But brother, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, doing better. I know, again, I've been here, there, and everywhere. I'm now in Australia, so this is probably the hardest time zone to do, but we managed to find a slot, and we're going to deliver some slippery goodness to everyone.
Are you in Australia now?
Yeah, I'm in Australia, yeah.
Fucking hell, you were in China like a few days ago.
Yeah, I was in China, yeah, so I did a Weihai, Shanghai, Sydney, and then I drove to Canberra.
Mhm.
Now I'm in the middle of the Australian bush, mate. I'm just hanging around.
Okay, wow. Let's dive into that in a bit. But first, the highs and lows. And I want to start off with my low. It's a low max. And I would just really like to get some support from my fellow men who are listening to this podcast. I don't think any women will ever understand. It's a real men thing. But I've been hit by the man flu. And it's pretty bad.
Yep. What are your symptoms? You sick? Runny nose, sore throat?
Sore throat, runny nose, struggling doing the dishes, vacuum cleaner. Haven't seen that in like 3 weeks. It's just like this overall feeling. It's like the men's pregnancy. Yeah, I don't know. It just goes on in the body. It's like it's like all the symptoms from the man flu. I got it.
Fuck, man. That's tough. Is it getting cold now in the Netherlands? Is that why you've been hit with the first wave?
It is the first wave. I would say it is. The temperature has been going down rapidly. I think it's a combination of stress, temperature, and the first wave. You know, someone's got to catch the first wave, and I reckon I'm taking one for the team.
You got it full bang after all those weeks of launching the product and everything. You're immunocompromised, mate. The
I
man
know.
flu's got to you.
I know. So how you doing? What's your low then? Let's start off with your low.
We can start off with a high. I'll go high, and then I'll go low.
Okay.
But yeah, I haven't been back to Australia for 3 years.
Yeah.
Last time I was back was only for like 2 weeks, and I lived here for around 10 years of my life. So it feels weird to come back to some place that feels so familiar that you haven't been to for so long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you realize, in life, nothing really changes. Like you go to the streets are still the same. The advertisements on TV are still the same. And it's like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was kind of expecting it to be so different. But then you realize, like, damn, dude, like the world just ticks along.
It's like seeing an old friend that you haven't seen in 10 years. And everything is still the
Yeah.
same.
You give them a high five and everything comes flooding back.
And why are you in Australia?
So I'm here for the World Championships in 2 weeks' time on the 19th of October, a bit more than 2 weeks. It's the grand final.
Yeah.
But mate, that brings me on to my low. I've actually had the worst month of racing of my life in the last month. But I've got some answers, so I feel a bit happier about it because I was pretty depressed like a week ago. I have gone 2 DNFs and a 26th place, so probably the worst streak of racing that I've ever done. But turns out I had a stomach infection the whole time. So after the race in China, I pulled out because I couldn't race. I wasn't feeling myself. When you're just not, you can't put one foot in front of the other. You're just like, and I was just like, basically just stopped, threw something against the wall, threw my sunglasses off my head. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Like I just don't feel myself. And I said to the staff, I said, screw this, I'm going to the hospital. And they said, oh, I don't know if you should go to a Chinese hospital. Oh, China. And I was like, I don't care at this point. Like I'm racing like shit. I'm throwing away my world ranking. Like I'm going anyway. So I went to the hospital. Mate, this is 100% true. Like this is not a lie. This is not propaganda. I get in I get in the ambulance straight away, and my dad's messaging me like, mate, you're in an ambulance in a foreign country. Like, get your credit card
They're
ready. You
going
know,
to give you a bat infusion. That's what Corona all started. They're taking you to Wuhan.
He's messaging me like, man, hospital ride, like that's 5 grand. And then he's like, just try to get some bloods done. I said, Dad, I don't care. I'm gonna get everything done. I'm gonna get it all done, baby. So I'm sitting in the emergency room, and they rush me straight to the front. They go, "Oh, you go, you go, you go." So I go and see this like lovely little lady, who was
But
the
wait.
emergency doctor.
What was the reason that they got you in the emergency room then? Could you, because you come up there, you're a flipping fit professional athlete, so there's no symptoms what you can see. So you probably said something like, it's the man flu, it's really bad. But what made them all push you forward then?
I don't know. I think just the Chinese hospitality, because I said I want to go to the hospital to the staff. I said I want to go to the hospital, and they said, "Oh, okay, we can take you, we can take you." And I said, "Okay, like when?" And they're like, "Now, the ambulance is coming." Wee wee wee. And I'm in the back, like there's nothing wrong with me, you know. I'm just like, there's something wrong, but it's nothing like I'm not bleeding out of my neck.
Yeah.
Like, I need to go to
My
the,
VO2
you know.
max is 88, but it feels like it's 82 at the moment.
That's exactly the problem. And yeah, they just pushed me to the front because I don't think it mustn't have been a very busy day in the Weehai emergency department. Um, and this lady goes, "Okay, what's wrong with you?" And I said, 3 weeks, I've had stomach pain. I just haven't felt myself. She says, "Okay, lay down on the table. Lay down on the table. Lay down on the table." Starts feeling my stomach, this little Chinese lady. And I'm like, oh, she knows what she's doing. And then she's like, "Okay, we're going to do ultrasound, CT scan, bloods, and x-ray of the stomach." And I was like, fuck, okay, yeah, no worries. And I was like, when? And she's like, now. CT scans ready. And then she'd take me straight to the CT scan, scanned, and then she's like, okay, now ultrasound. This is in the space of 30 minutes. Okay, I get everything done, and it's like a 15-minute process to get everything done. I come back to the room, and I'm like, okay, so do I come back tomorrow for the results? She's like, no, sit here for 20 minutes. I'll have your results. I was like, what do you mean you'll have my results? And she's like, I'll have all your results. 20 minutes later, little guy walks through the door with everything, the bloods, the ultrasound, the everything, all the results. And I was like, how did you do that? And she's like, this is just how we do it. And I was like, that's crazy. And so it turns out, yeah, my bloods were completely screwed. I had high blood cell count, white blood cell count, I had infection, whatever. And she's like, okay, I'm putting you on antibiotics. She got all the medication, boom, gave me the medication. And then she was like, I said, okay. And then this was the time where I started to get nervous because I was like, now
Yeah.
it's going to cost me like
Yeah.
10,000 euro, you know? And she's like, okay, so it's 200. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's good. 200
Yeah.
bucks. And she's
Wow.
like, no, no, 200 yen. And I was like, I said, 200 yen is like 11 euros. And she was like, yeah, that's the price. And I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, how much is it for everything? And she was like, 200 yen.
How is that possible?
That's what I said. I said, no, I said, come on. And so I wrote it in the notes, I said, like this? And she was like, yes. And I was like, what? And so like, I started like freaking out. And then she gets on the phone rings. And I'm like, oh, she's made a mistake. Someone's calling her to say, hey, yo, what are you doing? Like, and then she goes, yeah. She goes, oh, actually, for you, it's free.
But you need to play at a party tonight as a blonde gigolo.
But you're coming home with me.
What? It's free? Because you're blonde.
I don't know. And then I just walked out of the hospital fully like scanned, blood test, and with medication for free.
Well, that's nuts.
Can you believe that, dude?
But we've just infusioned a little chip in your body so we can follow you over the world, and you're gonna gather intelligence for us.
You are now an agent of the CCP. Congratulations.
But wow, that is amazing. That is really amazing. It makes you wonder what
Yeah.
they're doing in the hospitals in the UK, Spain, and the Netherlands. Because if you go in
Well, that's
here,
what I
like,
left. I left thinking, what the hell are we doing?
yeah, it's just administration bullshit, isn't it? What takes up so long in like all these countries, like administration for insurance, blah blah blah, just takes up all the time of the doctors, nurses, etc.
Yeah,
But
I
wow,
mean,
that is amazing.
yeah,
I wish they could fix my.
couldn't believe it.
I should go there with my man flu. right?
Mate, that's what I said when I got back to the hotel to the guys. I was like, man, if you ever need an MRI, it's cheaper and faster to fly to Beijing, go to the nearest emergency department, get it scanned, and leave again. You
Yeah.
know, like it's it's crazy.
Wow. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Okay. Wow. Good story. Yeah.
yeah. It's a pretty good story. Yeah.
And what's next now then? So you're now in Australia. You've got 2 weeks. The tummy is back up and running. I mean, the tummy is always the weak spot at every triathlete. You can train the gut, you can train your flipping legs and mind and everything, but if that tummy lets you down, it's just so sensitive, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And basically that's what's been just been letting me down and obviously having the infection in there. It's not just about the pain or like the discomfort because it wasn't even that bad, you know? Like on race morning I was like, yeah, I feel good, you know. I've had good sessions whatever, but basically what they explained to me is because your gut is infected, it's not actually taking in the carbohydrates you're putting in.
Yeah.
So effectively you're just bonking.
Yeah.
Like you're bonk that's why you get to the run and you're just cooked because you spent an hour and a half, you know, pretty hard, and then you've been trying to put, you know, gels and whatever, and it's not absorbing because your stomach's just not absorbing the carbohydrates.
Maybe that's
And
what
I was
I've
getting
had.
bloated.
Maybe that's what I've had
Yeah.
over the last 8 years.
You've had an 8-year stomach infection.
Complete rotten gut. Infected and rotten gut.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good on you, man. And how's
Yeah,
it
yeah,
look?
yeah.
How are the cards looking for you for Worlds then? So, what are you currently? What's your ranking? Because you were going originally for a top 10 in the world, and well,
Mm.
the Instagram aesthetic is there. I would see it say at least a top six. But what's the odds, the chances for a top 10 in the world then still at Worlds?
Well, actually, you know, I was all, you know, as you do as an athlete, get all depressed and you
Yeah.
get back to your room and you hate your life and you hate yourself and you want to jump out the window. But I looked at the rankings and it's not too bad. I'm like 18th right now,
Okay.
but really, really, really tightly bunched, you know,
Yeah.
with like from 18th to like 8th,
Yeah.
it's super tightly bunched. And because the last race is 1.5 points, I've got actually, if I have a good one,
Hmm.
like a top 10, I have a good chance of just like boom, jumping. So it may be a bit harder than it was like a month ago to get there, but it's still really possible. So we'll we'll get 2 weeks of good training done and hopefully my stomach's all good to go and yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm feeling better about my prospects now than I was a week ago when I was sat in the Chinese hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you? I saw it's all popping off with Ghana, mate. It
Yeah.
looks really positive. It looks really
So
good.
yesterday, we finally launched our carbohydrate and electrolyte mix in the flavors grapefruit and dragon fruit. And that took, well, we started the development in 2024 in March. And the thing is, if you want a, let's say you want a carb mix, orange or lemon, you know, you could just go to like a pharmaceutical company and get a carb mix. But what we wanted is like a carb mix that doesn't taste sweet, but rather fresh. But then also like the right. Oh, do you hear that? That's another sale. Huh?
Why?
There we go. Let me see. Online store. Let me see what someone ordered. It is a the performance shots and a water bottle. But so we launched the carb and electrolyte mix, and for everyone who wants to try it, I'm gonna make a discount code 10% with the code Big Dog. Um, this product, if you know anything about carb and electrolyte mixes and from the ingredients, you can just it's this one is a very interesting one. You can compare it to any A brand. What makes it even more interesting is the price point. I've once wanted to launch this product because I think carbs are over expensive and sports should be available sports products to everyone. So yeah, we offered it for 22 euros 50. But the reason why normally sports nutrition is so expensive is because brands work through distributors. So let's say I want to sell it in Germany, but I don't want to go to 100 shops in Germany. They work through a distributor who already have a contact / network with like 100 shops. But a distributor wants like 30%, shop wants like 40 to 50%. These are all markups apart from like marketing costs, what you as a client pay for the paying the product price. And in the end, a lot of the products are like very very similar. It's just like taste differences, or like we've got the electrolytes in the same product. But yeah, we launched yesterday, and it went really well. Have you checked out the website?
Yeah, I looked at it. It looks really clean. It
Yeah.
looks really cool. I was stoked when you posted it yesterday, and the branding I think is really really nice.
Well, my partner, he comes from fashion, and so he's really into like the branding, the aesthetics. But we've done everything ourselves, from content photography, branding, website, coding, marketing, the fulfillment. So yeah, like honestly, yesterday that gave me goosebumps when we launched it, and a lot of people supported. So if there are any dogs who are keen to try it, you can head over to gonafuel.com and use the code big dog. um, yeah, just give it a try. And if you don't want to try it, that's also right. But I would really like if you would just check the website and give me some feedback on just anything, because any feedback is always helpful in the next step. But yeah, and I've also decided, apart, like, let's get back to sports, that Max, I haven't been doing a lot of sports over the last few months, but I'm flipping eager to get back into it. Like, I'm flipping shivering like a shitting dog with nerves to get like that passion, that fire. I can just feel that I want to go on that comeback journey, and not as a professional, but I want to go back as like an age grouper. I want to see if I can qualify for Kona next year. I won't be able to train 30 hours a week, 20 to 30 like I did in the past, but I do think I can still train 15 hours a week, 10 to 15, and be competitive. But I can't wait. The house renovation is finishing in like 4 weeks, so I'm like eager. I want to go on a training camp, probably with you, in maybe when you're in Banyoles or whatever, not in flipping China. Um,
January training camp. I'll be there.
yeah, that would be super cool, and yeah, I can't wait. The sport is just awesome, and it's like a relationship where you step away from. Let's say you have a partner, and at some point you think the grass is greener somewhere else, and you go there and you find out the grass isn't greener. Um, or maybe it isn't even about the grass being greener, but it's about finding out that what you had was actually really good. Sometimes you only appreciate something when it's gone. And it's not that I didn't
Yeah.
appreciate it, it was just that the passion and fire over time. And I think also, as a professional athlete, if you're not competitive, you're putting in a lot of heart, a lot of work. Yeah, it just yeah, it was something I was missing. But I'm finding that fire back, and I've just settled with the thought that I'm not an athlete that can compete with the best in the world, and I'm just going on a different journey. But I can't wait to get back. So that's where it all starts.
Yeah, I often get that. Like, you often sit around the table, and you speak about like, oh, this is hard, this is a lot of time. But like, even with like like I said, the shittest month of racing that I've ever had, you still kind of sit back, and today I rode like 93K through like the Australian bushland, pretty much saw no one out there, just like animals and beautiful, beautiful scenery. Like, and you just think to yourself, like, first of all, just like how lucky I am, to be able to do this and like actually say that it's a job, because
Yeah,
I make a living from it. And in a way, it's like I've had, and like I said at the start of the show, like I haven't been back in basically 5 years, because when I came back, I was only back for 2 weeks. So you don't really have time to appreciate. And I bumped into a few people that, that I hadn't seen since high school or university or whatever. And they say, oh man, like you're always that guy that was saying that like he wanted to run around and you were good at the cross countries and stuff. And you've like done it,
yeah,
and I sit back and I think like, yeah, you know what, like that's pretty cool, and like I should appreciate that a
yeah,
bit more, because I feel like I said, when I get back to the room and you had a shit race, and oh fuck, this sucks, I'm tired, I'm I haven't been home for a while, blah, blah. But you think like one day, man, like my body's gonna stop working, like I'm not gonna be able to do this anymore.
yeah. And the thing is,
And so
yeah, everything starts to feel normal. It's like it's hard to appreciate something if you've been in it for so long. That's the hard thing at some point. And
mm,
you're always thinking about, I need to get better, it's not good enough, I'm not good enough. And that's actually a very toxic thought. But it sounds easy to not do it, but it's just so easy to do it. I think every professional
yeah.
does.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think like now, especially with the health stuff, you realize like unless you're healthy, you can't really do anything, you know? And it's like you just got to appreciate every time that you do get a result, even if it's not the result that you 100% wanted. If it's a 12th instead of an 8th or
Yeah.
a 5th instead of a podium, like you're still competitive because when you're not healthy and you can't even put one foot in front of the other, like there's no worse feeling, you know? So, yeah, I don't know, just like you said, you appreciate it a lot more when it gets taken away in a certain way, you know, obviously you stepping away, doing what you needed to do, and then me just kind of being ill for a bit, you kind of appreciate those times even more. And yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know.
But
In general, I
there
think it's a good life.
are two things, of course, what makes you go for something. And it doesn't matter if it's about sports or about job. It's like appreciation. So if you work for a boss, it's one of the most important things are appreciation for your effort, you know, like that you're doing well, that your work is being appreciated. As a human being, we all need that. And in sports, you don't really have someone apart from a coach that can give you that appreciation. So it comes a lot down to self appreciation. And you got to be critic to yourself, your hardest critic as well, because you need to be, it's like a form of perfectionism, being a professional athlete. You can also be too hard on yourself. You know, that's just such a fine line. And that self appreciation, if I think back, it also comes down a little bit, comes together a little bit with passion for this. Otherwise, you cannot do it. And if I think back about the times that I had a flipping fire, you know, and that fire, that's what you need, that you're unstoppable. It doesn't matter the weather. It doesn't matter whatever, you know, you're just going. And sometimes I remember in The Hague, it was flipping, it was 3 degrees, it was raining, it was 10 p.m. and I was going out for a Nighthawk half marathon with 10 by a K. And at the last rep, I would run and start crying. Like I would be so proud of myself that I was out there and that I did it. You know, it was not for Instagram. It was for myself. And that fire, that passion, is what you need, you know, that self appreciation. And if I think about that, that's maybe in the core the most beautiful thing of sports. It's more beautiful than you posting online a run picture and that people are like, "Oh, you're a hero," and that's also, you know, a good feeling. But it's better if you feel it from a certain session or that you're in a training flow. That is the addiction.
Yeah, 100%. Talking about addiction, I think Kona's got a bunch of addicts landing into it over the next couple of weeks for the Women's World Championships. I know we were out of action for recapping the Men's World Championships, so we can properly precap and recap the women's racing this time.
Let's recap and recap this one in order in time. But first, there's one thing that I do wanted to say about the men's world champion in Nice, championships in Nice. And for everyone who remembers this, it's already been weeks ago. But what I wanted to say is what I found so beautiful about this race. So at the men's podium, Casper Stornes, Christian Blumenfeld, Gustav Iden. You actually predicted it correct, which I find, well, Maxi, I don't underestimate your knowledge in sport. But what I find so cool about this Casper Stornes has been in the shadows of Gustav Iden and Christian Blumenfeld for such a long time. And can you imagine that you're in Bergen in the shit winter training and everyone adores Christian and Gustav, you know, they're multiple world champions, medals all around them and the poster boys and got all the big brands. But you're grafting just as hard and you're always there with them. You're always training with them. And you always get confronted with the fact that they're putting in the same effort. They just get so much more, and this goes down to appreciation again, that I can imagine that it's been that this Casper Stornes had a lot of hard times in his room, that he was probably alone, like, why am I not getting this appreciation or the sponsors or the results? And for him now to become world champion and the way that he did it with a 2:29 flipping marathon, I just think that is beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
Go
I mean,
ahead.
I remember
Story.
like at the start of the year in Abu Dhabi, I actually did the bike recce next to him, and I was saying, you know, you haven't seen someone for a few months, and you say, "Hey, what's up, man? Like, how you doing? Whatever." He's like, "Yeah, good, good." I was like, "Oh, I have a good winter. How's the family? How's Christmas? You know, all the bullshit." And then I just like said to him, "Oh, what are you doing this year? You know, you gonna race World Series? Are you gonna do some stuff?" He said, "I'm doing Ironman," and I said, "Ironman." I said, "What the hell are you doing that for, man? That's fucking way too long." And he was like, "Nah, man, I think I can do it. I think I can have a good year." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, all right, bro." And I just thought to myself, like, "Fuck that Iron Man, screw that, man. Like, I'm not doing that." And then, surprise, surprise, 6 months later, you know, like, what a legend. But yeah, honestly, I was watching that race like pretty much the whole way. Like that 5-man line on the promenade, frame it,
And
frame
do
it.
you know what was so cool about that? So um, 5 people off the bike in front, and everyone who's running there knows the winner will probably run 2:30 or quicker, but up and around 2:30, which means 2 hours and 30 minutes, which means you need to run 3 minutes 33 per kilometer pace. So everyone who was running there knew I'm just going to run this as long as possible, and if I bonk, I bonk, But if you cannot run it, you're not going to win it. That's actually pretty cool. And you haven't seen something like this in past Ironman world races, world championship races.
Yeah, I think
Fucking
it's
nuts.
like apart from the Iron War, which was obviously iconic, but like I felt like this was the first time you saw a marathon that was like a proper race.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like this guy's overbiked. Is he going to get caught? No, here comes Patrick Langer. It wasn't like
Yeah.
that. It was like, no, there's five guys here, and it's like, let's see what happens. From kilometer 1 to kilometer 42, it's going to be a slog. It's going to be a fight. It's not going to be a calculation of how fast is the leader running, how fast is the chaser running. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. And if he just runs like this, then he's going to catch in 9 minutes. So it's going to be, yeah. It was a race
yeah.
from start to finish. So yeah, we got a little treat. But let's head over to the women's world, or let's head over to Kona in general, because there's also a lot of age groupers. Um, what do you know about Kona?
I mean, I know that is obviously probably the most iconic triathlon, and I think that's what makes it. Because when you look at it objectively, and I think a lot of people have spoken about it, like, oh, it's just a race up and down a highway. It's just this, it's just that. It's expensive, and all those things are valid.
Hmm.
But I think what makes racing, and it's the same as like Wimbledon or the Masters or Monaco and Formula One. It's all about history, and it's got history.
Yeah,
Like it's got over 40 years of history, and it's where greats, legends have been born. And I think like no matter the course and no matter the downsides of it, I think you'll always have that aspect of it being so iconic, and I think that's why people want to win in Kona. They want to win in Kona to say, I won in Kona. I'm Ironman world champion in Kona, in the heat, in the energy lab.
it's it's
Like I've
it's
done that.
where it all started. It's the most. It's one of the most boring races, but it's just so flippin' sexy. It's but as like a 3-time age group qualifier and 2-time participant. One of them didn't go ahead during COVID. I want to give some tips to my fellow age groupers. So the first year that I went to Kona, for everyone who don't know the story, I during my first Ironman, didn't really know a lot about Ironman, but my first Ironman, I came in 5th overall, first in my age group, qualified for Kona, and I thought like I'm the man. I'm the man, baby. And then I took it all way too serious. I took the race way too serious. I didn't want to do anything during race week. I'm going into that a little bit more in a bit. And then during the race, I thought like I need to push it. I need to push harder. Last 5Ks, I started to like run really fast, like 350 per kilometer, which is like almost Patrick Lang pace at the time. So this is 2018, 700 meters before the finish. I heat stroked. They took me to the hospital on the intensive care, laid there for 2 years and didn't finish. More of the story is I took it all way too serious. For what? For a 500th place. And I think if you go there as an age grouper, unless you're training 30 hours a week and you're actually a professional, but you're racing under an age group license, don't forget that going to Kona is so special. The things you can do there, like there's a couple of things. It's one of the places in the world, the only places in the world what you can do. And during race week, I know you want to take the race serious, but don't waste your time on tapering. Like, please go dive with the Manta race. Head over to Mauna Kea, which is like the highest mountain in the world. Technically, you can see if you go there in the evening, like it's the brightest place on the world, if I'm not mistaken, to see stars. At the other side of the island, you've got the rainforest. You've got active volcanoes. There's just so much stuff. Captain Cook, where you've got one of the best coffee places. Please take the time to just do it. Of course, take the race serious, but screw the taper and go after it. Because in the end, Does it really matter if you're doing 9 hours 50 or 10? Yeah, it does a little bit, but not about 10 and 15 or 9:30 and 9:50. Don't take it too serious, you know. Also, yeah, just being there is so special.
Yeah, agreed. I think obviously it's a bucket list race.
Yeah.
Definitely a bucket list race. But talking about the field in the women's, you've actually got a few big hitters that are, already on the island and that are looking sharp. Kat Matthews, Lucy Charles, Julie Deron, Taylor Knibb, Laura Phillip. What are we saying? We're going to predict another podium?
Uh, the podium ponies again. Triathlon podium ponies. um, yeah, the thing about Kona is just so open. You know, there's not in certain races you would be able. Of course, you know, Kat Matthews, Laura Phillip, Taylor Knibb, they're all in peak form. You know, if you've seen the races, what they've done this year. And the results are absolutely nuts. You know, they raise the bar every year. They're running times that a lot of professional men aren't even capable of doing. Especially if you've seen, for example, what Kev Matthews and Laura Phillip ran, for example, in Hamburg. It's insane, like 2 hours 40, if I'm not mistaken, or sub 2:40. I don't remember, but I could only dream of running a time like that. So I do think during the race, Taylor Knibb, Lucy Charles, especially Lucy, will probably go off the front with a small group. And then Lucy will probably try to run away and then hold on to the run. I don't think Lucy's going to run as well as Kat Matthews and Laura Phillips. So Laura Phillip and Kat Matthews will probably come from the back. Um, you know, Chelsea Sodaro has won before in Kona, is a dark horse because over the last a year and a half, 2 years, she hasn't really performed as well as the year in Kona she did back then. But you know, Kona is always Kona. What do you reckon?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, again, it's going to be an interesting thing. Obviously, I can't see Taylor not swimming with Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can't see Lucy not riding with Taylor. I think Taylor's obviously her bike is her weapon.
Yeah,
It's where she has been making the difference her whole career. But I don't. There's something about Lucy this year, especially in the tail end of the year. She started with a third in Singapore, but she's just slowly got better and better and better. And in that London race, everyone thought she was gone and buried, and she just comes back, boom, and then she did this other T100 in the middle of her training block. Essentially, it was just a training race for her, and she just absolutely smashed it. I think like nearly 3 minutes to second, like not even close. So I think yeah, it's gonna be super interesting to see if Lucy is able to pace off Taylor on the bike and then have maybe a career best run.
yeah,
Obviously, she's won there before, so she knows what it takes to win. But can she win in a even more dominating fashion? That I think that's what's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, like you said, you can't. I think the Kat and Laura run battle is going to be. They're gonna need a quad box for that one, man. They're gonna need
yeah.
a quad box.
They're gonna need a quad box. Um,
We're gonna need a quad box.
I'm just, yeah, I'm really excited to go to watch it, and yeah, Kona. I just really hope I can go back, and even if I won't qualify, I probably go back there next year to. In the past, I've done a triathlon mockery videography about St. George, and I've once done it in Dutch, like years ago, even before Lionel Sanders started YouTube. I did it in Dutch about the World Championships in Kona in 2017 or 18. Before Lionel was like a consistent hitter on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would really like to go back. Like it's just so special. Um,
Are you coming to Marbella? I'll be in Marbella.
it is. I am going to Alicante in November. The thing is, I need to finish the last few things on the house renovation exactly during my bay. I did check though, and I must say, I just don't have the budget as well. like fly there, stay there for a week. It is what's it again?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the 4th of November, isn't it? Something like that.
9th,
9th,
9th of November.
9th of November. Like yeah, the race is the 9th of November. So if I wanted to, yeah, it is. I'm flying to Alicante the 2nd of November to my mom. Is it the 2nd? Yeah, something like that. But sadly,
Oh,
I'm not.
shame.
But yeah, it is a shame. But after November, you will be in Europe.
No, I'll be in Thailand.
What are you
I'm
doing
going to
there?
race. I'm gonna go race Laguna Phuket, man. It's the best way to finish a season in Thailand.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
um,
just hanging around.
has hanging around, baby. Let's head over to the bullshit buster. Have you got a proper bullshit buster?
Ah, I do, but we've already done it, and I've made the mistake. I raced when I was sick. I keep busting my own bullshit buster, man. But I've got to say about the bullshit buster, we've had the bullshit buster well and truly, absolutely destroyed by the Norwegians because we called them out for the spikes, man.
Well,
We
and
did.
at some point, I saw Christian training in spikes and a tri suit. So that was the double bullshit buster, like an easy run in a tri suit or a run in a tri suit, and he was doing a run on spikes in tri suit, like he was mocking with the Triathlon Mockery. But yeah, they did.
I think he's doing it on purpose. I think this guy. I think he's got some beef.
Yeah, maybe. Would you say the bullshit buster is the Chinese hospital system?
Yeah, I think the bullshit buster is the propaganda we say about China because I can tell you it's definitely not true.
Alrighty. Well, everyone, we missed a little segment called the training tips from Triathlon Mockery. What was it again? Like the people's advice, where listeners would send in a question, and people are
Yeah.
just not sending in any questions. Just send in a flipping voice note.
I wonder why.
Yeah, because they forget about the podcast because we haven't been doing it for so long. So we need to get after
Yeah.
it consistent. Otherwise, people just can't handle the toxic trait. And at some point, you're gone. You're
Well,
going over to
at
another
some
drug.
point, no matter how much you love your partner, if it's toxic, you gotta get out.
You got to get out. You got at some point you got to take care of yourself. It's that self appreciation again, and you got to stop with that heroin. Yeah, I think that perfectly sums it up, amigo. Let's try and put an effort in for a new podcast next week. Yeah, let's try and promise it. We're not promising anything, but yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone, and hopefully we will see you back next week. See you, mate.
See you guys.